Hi, welcome to episode 228 of your favorite daily podcast, A Couple of Things. Today on the podcast, I talk with my friend Elizabeth about transitions, the difficulties that we face in transitions, how we can better handle our transitions, and how identity is linked with transitions. And I'm very sure that you're learning lots from this episode and you enjoyed. Thanks for listening. Today, I have my friend Elizabeth. Elizabeth, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. My name is Elizabeth and I'm here at last, finally. It's been a long
Finally,
time
oh,
coming.
it's been so long since I've been trying to
It's,
get you on this podcast. So we're
it's been
finally
really
here.
long. I think we've been trying since April and this is August.
August.
I'm
That's
here.
like 4 months ish. That's quite some time. But yeah, tell us about yourself, Elizabeth.
Yeah, my name is Elizabeth. I'm Ladi's friend.
Is
And
that it?
yes. That's my first introduction.
Okay.
I'm Ladi's friend. Ladi is my president. I'm also president.
Please.
And then yeah, so I have a background in risk management. I've been working in risk for a couple of years now, and then I transitioned into the research part of risk. So right now I'm an industry analyst in risk management at Vedantics here in the UK. So that's a brief introduction of me.
Awesome. Okay. So, like with almost every other podcast, I mean, some people when they come, they have like something that they want to talk about, but most of the time, nobody like really, we don't really have anything planned. So, and this is one of those times where we don't have anything planned. And I'm going to start with the question that I always start with, which is, what is on your mind today,
What is on my
or what has
mind?
been on your mind recently?
A couple of things, a couple
Mhm.
of things, and I think
Yeah, in
the
the right
biggest
place.
one is I think the biggest one is actually gratitude.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. I've been in a season of gratitude year long, like since February. The
Mhm.
year has taken a totally different turn from every single thing I planned, everything I thought would happen. But looking back at everything, I'm just truly grateful, truly get grateful for living. I think
Hmm.
that's the word. So yeah, gratitude is the biggest thing on my mind.
That's amazing. It's always great to have an outlook that is grateful, even when things don't go according to the way that you imagine them to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else? You said there were a couple of things. What else?
Yeah, a couple of things is also been a truly reflective season for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what has actually evoked the gratitude.
Mm,
About 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I clocked 1 year on my job. And looking at it, this job is more like the hardest transition I've done in my whole life.
mm,
I mean, career-wise.
yeah.
And since I relocated to the UK, my career journey has been quite interesting. I've lived in the UK for 3 years now, and this is the first ever job that I'll spend a year long on.
Wow.
So it feels like I've been in a movie, and there's like a break, a scene break, and I'm like, oh wow, what has been going on? What has been going on? What has been going on? So it's been a lot of reflection, career-wise, in my personal life as well. And yeah, the biggest one is career-wise.
Mm.
And I'm so happy to announce that I won an award yesterday at work.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
That one was like, really? So it's just, I think the award just came and it was just like, it came and affirmed everything that's been going on, everything that's been on my mind. I've been like, okay, actually,
And that's actually a great way to celebrate your 1 year.
you know.
That is so good. Like career transitions can be very, very interesting and intense, or even any kind of transition. Funny enough, one of the topics I'm going to talk about on the podcast soon is about transitions and dealing with transitions. But since we're on that topic, I imagine that you've gone through multiple transitions in your life. Like you talk about moving to the UK and then also moving to a new kind of career path within the work that you were already doing. What has been the most difficult parts of transitions for you, and how have you been able to work through them?
most difficult part of transition is we underestimating its impacts on
Mm,
ourselves,
mm,
right? And each time, or before we transition, we have been brought up to have this kind of visioning, how it will look like, the kind of work it will require. And we go into transition with all of our enthusiasm, ready to give it our best, ready to give it our all, so that you can bring that vision or everything you've thought about to life.
mm.
And then when you get right in and you give it every single thing and more, I mean, you go over and beyond so that one, either your vision comes to pass faster or you get more results, it just comes back in a very shocking way. And you're like, wasn't told this part. I didn't realize that this was part of it. How come my visioning didn't
Include
actually
this one.
capture this part? So it's always like, what's happening? What went wrong? What did I do? What did I not do? What was I told? What am I seeing? So it's just always that, am I dreaming? So that's just the part of transition that is the hardest. Like giving it your all and everything you've imagined isn't actually coming to play. I think that's the most difficult part.
Yeah. And I feel like this is one of those things where you may know it, but every time you transition, you still experience it.
You're right. Anytime you feel like, okay, I know it, I get it. And then you just be like, I thought I did, but I didn't. So that's just the thing about transitions. It's just really dynamic, and you almost can never tell. You almost can never tell. And your past experience does not guarantee your future experience, that kind
Mm,
of thing.
yeah. Just
So it's
like the
just,
stock market past performance.
yeah. So
No.
it's just very take it as you see it and
Yeah.
survive through it.
Yeah. So what have you found to be helpful in navigating this is it discordance? I'm not sure. English is failing me. But what have you like this perception, we have these perceptions and these ideas of what the transition would be like, and then we enter into it and it's not what we imagined, at least not totally. So how have you what have you found to be helpful in dealing with that? Is it dissonance or discordance? I don't know. But I hope you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And looking back again and looking forward and looking at where I am now, I think the most helpful thing is to constantly remind yourself that you're not the problem.
Hmm.
Like, it is not you. You're not crazy. You're not going mad. You're not the problem. Like, it is not you. It has nothing to do with you. It's not because you didn't send an email right. It's not because you didn't take the right step. It's not because you didn't greet somebody well. It's not because you didn't follow a particular procedure. It's just not you,
Hmm. Is
basically. And then that helps you actually detach your identity from everything going around because transition will question every single thing you know,
hmm.
every single thing you've believed,
Hmm.
every single thing that has worked before. Like it will shake you to your core and you remaining true to yourself. Like, no, it's not me. That's just what will get you through.
Yeah. And I think that is actually in inbuilt with transitions because a transition is I know that we have our identity. Our identity is core to us and it doesn't really change, but a transition can kind of shift how we think about our identity and the things we believe about ourselves and how we interact with the world and people as well. So
Yeah,
like an easy example is transitioning careers, right? Maybe before you were a writer and then now you are a data analyst, right? So in a sense, a part of your identity has changed, even though your core identity or who you are as a person hasn't changed. But a part of your identity through which other people relate with you as, oh, Lade is a writer, that part has changed. Now Lade is a data analyst, and it can be difficult for you and also for the other people to come into alignment really quickly.
yep,
So I think
yep,
that's also part of the problem, which is why it's like it's not because you're not doing anything. It's just part of the process of you're in a new space, you're in a new thing. So some things will be unfamiliar, some things you will not get right, some things you will not know, some things will just be difficult, but you eventually you will walk through it.
yeah, that's it. And two things I would just like to say there quickly. One is the foundation of your identity, or what will actually get your identity going far, is to get your identity anchored on something that is immovable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am just very happy to bring in my faith here. And once you have your identity anchored on God, like it's not anchored on my job, it's not anchored on my marriage, it's not anchored on what I do for God, it's not anchored on my family, it's not anchored on every single thing I can see. It reduces the impact transition has on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes you, whenever it happens, you just remember that, okay, I'm still a Jesus girl. Like, last, that is
Last
not
though.
change. Like, this one
Everything
cannot
else can
change.
scatter, but I'm beloved of God, Sha.
You get, like, even everything, even if sky is falling down, like, not this one cannot change. So I think one thing is anchoring your identity on that which is immovable. And the only thing that I know in my 30 years of life that is immovable
It's
is
only
actually
Jesus.
God.
That's it.
Yeah. So I would say one, first and foremost, have that your identity anchored on the immovable. And two, whatever you're building in life, or even in death, or anything, ensure it is flexible. Like,
Yeah,
don't build in a form of rigid way that a change will just come and then takes you back to zero.
exactly. I think
It
that's
makes
very, very
me,
important.
yeah, it makes me go back to everything I've learned from Amos. Become on your journey to any transition so that
Mm-hmm.
if everything else is taken from you, the you that became that thing remains
Yeah,
and can face any other transition.
exactly. I think that thing is so important because like having your identity rooted in an immovable thing that is not something that can change, like your job title or where you live or the kinds of things that you do. But outside of that, because when all of those things change, if your identity is only tied to those things, you would just be lost for
Mhm.
longer than you should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was the second thing?
I said two things. One was the immovable, the other was build with agility and flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And as you build, you become on the journey so that if a scenario I always paints is if I'm stripped of everything I have today, how long will it take me to build from ground zero up?
Mm.
That's my value. Like that's my, I don't know what's the best word. I'm
I
thinking
don't.
of the best word. I can't seem to find the best word now. But it's just more like if everything is taken away from me today,
Mm-hmm.
what I've built in myself, is it enough to sustain me through the next one?
Yeah.
And that's what sustains you through transitions because they always come. They always come. And if you've just been transitioning into a particular job, you've been transitioning into a particular country, if something happened and you have to go back to your country, like
Mm.
what
Yeah.
happened?
Or you have to go to a
Yeah,
different country entirely.
exactly. Or you have to go to a different country entirely, or somehow your industry is laying off and you have to be let go. Out
Mm.
like the everything you need to build from scratch is within you. So in your transitioning and in your movement and in your moving through life, don't neglect the part of becoming and growing through the process.
Yeah. That's very
Don't
important.
don't build towards an end goal. Don't say, oh, I'm building to become a UX researcher.
Yeah.
And tomorrow every job is no longer there. Then you built nothing.
Mm. So the building is not about like an external outcome necessarily, but it's building yourself, building you. So even if UX research as a career does not exist anymore, you can still move because as you if you tie yourself too much to that idea, then you will not be able to move when it's time for you to move. Or even when you're forced to move through, for example, layoffs, then you can't move. You're just stuck there.
And sometimes it may not even be layoff. It might just be that you are stuck. You are seeing people pivot, but you can't pivot because you have built a structure that is too hard on yourself and it's too hard for you to
Hmm.
start over.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just not layoff. Sometimes the word I just moved from being a
Yeah,
UX researcher, and it's just no longer your thing anymore. But you can't move because all your life you've
that's the
churned in
identity you.
20 years into being a researcher. That's your pride. That's all you know about yourself. And you can't just see yourself doing any other thing.
Mm, that is true. That is true. That's very true. Uh, okay. So basically, transitions, you need to have your handle transitions, you need to have your identity rooted in something that is immovable and unshakable, and not something that can change. And then you also need to focus on like who you are becoming in life, as in as a person, versus some external thing like a job title or a position or an industry. Because if you are too fixated on that thing, it's harder for you to pivot and move and change when you have to, for whatever reason that you have to.
Yep, I
Mm,
agree 100%.
yeah, that's true. That is very true. So let's pivot the conversation.
Let's transition.
Let's transition. You moved from Nigeria to the UK like 3 years ago, right?
Yep.
So what has that transition been like for you, and how do you feel settled in the UK? Does it feel like home now?
The question is really a deep question, and there are different sides to it. There are different sides to it. Yeah, I moved from Nigeria about 3 years ago, the July of 2021,
Mhm,
and it's August 2024. And you're asking me if I'm settled or I feel settled, like this is my new home.
mhm,
I would say relocation again has a whole lot to do with us and what it makes us become, right?
mhm,
And you almost can never tell when you're fully settled
mhm,
because we are humans and we have different parts of our lives. And the different part of our lives settle at different times.
mhm.
So I can break it down. And this way, physically, I relocated to the UK. So physically, I moved from Nigeria to the UK and I settled,
Yeah.
right? I can say my physical location is settled. And
Mhm,
then there's the logistics of moving,
mhm.
right? Moving your things, getting a house, settling in. And that is another part that settles in a different way or and a different time from your physical relocation and settlement,
Yeah.
right? And then there's the emotional part that also has to relocate. And sometimes that takes really long. In fact, you can't tell when that will ever settle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just leaving home and you're not seeing your family members regularly, even though you're not necessarily seeing them in Nigeria. But the fact that you're not
Yeah.
seeing them here is eating you
It's
harder.
it's different because when you're in
It's
Nigeria,
different.
you know that you can see them easily. Like you
Exactly. You very well know that I can see them, but you're not like, I'm not seeing these people and I can't see them when
yeah.
I feel like. So that's a different part of settlement that you always feel like something is actually missing. There are
Mhm.
times you feel all right and good. There are times you just feel like, oh no, I'm not settled yet.
Yeah.
And if you are the type that had a lot of friends in Nigeria, you built a lot of relationship in Nigeria, settling friendship wise is a different journey as well.
I can relate. I cried so many tears.
Exactly. So it's really subjective to say you are fully settled. And trust me, whatever anybody see externally or whatever you see people do externally does not define settlement in any way.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody recently and I'm like, that somebody is standing on water, or entering a boat, or doing whatever does not mean the person is settled. Like we have just, I think we have just grown to be like, if this person can do, this person must be settled. And
Mm,
we have sort of limited our settlement to having good jobs, living in good houses, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So settlement is really broad, and I don't know if somebody can actually say at some point that I've settled.
Mm.
I probably have not gotten to that point yet
Yeah.
because something will happen, and I'll just be like, maybe I need to see my mom. Like I just feel like I should be seeing my mom now. So at that point, I don't even see anywhere in UK as home.
Mm,
I just really want to go to my mom, basically.
yeah.
And so there are just different parts to it. There are different parts to it. But what puts it all together is life is a journey. And accepting that life is a journey makes it settles. Your being on earth is a journey. You're not here permanently on earth, right? My
Mm,
being in the UK today is a journey, and I can't tell you I'll be in the UK every day of my life.
mm,
So one thing I I've learned or that has been going with me through life is to enjoy every season.
Yeah.
Like enjoy everything a season presents to you so that when that season passes, you know that no, I just this season.
Yeah.
Like even you'll be so satisfied with
Mm.
yourself rather than focus on is life in the UK better than life in Nigeria? Is life in Nigeria better than life in the UK? Am I missing out on something? Like just actually focus, like tune your focus. This is where I am
On the
today
now.
now.
Yeah. Do you know that's very interesting because I have this in my, I was saying that this is a topic I want to talk about. And in my notes, I wrote like, because I was talking about how I dealt with the transition of moving here. And I was like, I was too fixated on the delights of the past to see the possibilities and opportunities in the present. And that is a big problem that we often have in transitions where we're so focused on how it was before and what we could do then and how our life was in that place that we're not seeing what it could be now and how we
Yeah.
could be here and the possibilities that exist now. So I think
Yeah.
that's
I
really
think
something to keep in mind.
it's such a disservice to ourselves, like
Mm-hmm.
dwelling in the past
Yeah,
or anticipating the future that is not here yet. I'm not saying you shouldn't anticipate the future,
yeah.
but it's such a disservice that you are here and you are not enjoying where you are.
Mm.
And that's not to talk about just location. Let's talk about your
Yeah,
season of life. I was
anywhere
having
you
a
are.
conversation with somebody at work today, and she was telling me how she's unhappy, she wants to leave, and that, and I'm like, yes, I know you want to leave. But now that you're here, when you leave, because I was telling her that no workplace is 100%.
Mm-hmm.
There will always be that thing that you are dissatisfied with. So
Yes.
when you go to a new job, you don't know where you're going to, you don't know what will be dissatisfying to you in that job. Then
Yeah.
you go there and you wish that, when I was there, this was that, that was that, that was that, and yeah, it's now worse. Like it will be so, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't ever want to be in that situation where I'll say I would have done this when I was there. Let me think about what I will do now, and I will do it to the point that when I leave, I'll be like,
I did the best
I
with
did the
everything.
best I could.
Mm. I
And I think that's what
100%.
makes transition beautiful. And that's what accumulates to our experiences in life. Like, enjoy your life. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Enjoy
enjoy
your
where
life.
you
Enjoy
are.
everywhere you are. Whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, enjoy. Like, there's something to enjoy. You've just not looked well enough.
Mm.
Enjoy
You
where
know?
you are. Use the opportunities where you are. Leverage everything you can leverage and do it selfishly. Yeah. Because when you leave, you honestly you will miss it.
Yeah, I totally
I
agree
remember
with
when I was in
that.
Nigeria, it wasn't nothing was interesting about Nigeria. Is it not the same place? I'm like, I want I want to go to Nigeria. I
Now
want
you
to do
want to
something. I want
go
to feel like,
home.
yeah. So that's I just feel like there's always something where you are, and always looking forward to what is to come or what can be is a disservice to where you are.
I 100%, you've taken the words out of my mouth. That's it. Yeah. Okay. And I think this is a good note to end this on, except there's anything else you want to share with the people.
Yeah, one last thing to share with people is back to the first thing I said, gratitude. It
Mm,
would actually, it will actually help your journey and accelerate your journey because gratitude elevates your mental state.
mm.
It does. It gives you new perspective. It makes you see what was not and now is. It makes you anticipate what is to come. But if you're always dwelling in what has not happened, what should happen, your expectation, without actually living in gratitude, you miss out on a lot of things. Your perspective will always be polluted. Your mind will never be pure because there will be something you're always chasing. You always be racing in your mind.
Yeah, always looking for the next thing, always
Exactly. There'll
chasing.
just be that constant race. Like this life, I always tell somebody it's only one. When you keep running, like you always keep running and running, even when you get the next thing, there'll still be something. So why don't you just slow down while you are moving and trying to go for the next thing? Also ensure you are maintaining a balance that allows you enjoy the phase of life you are in. So yeah, that's the
Thank you
last thing.
so much for coming here and sharing these words of wisdom.
Thank you for
And
having me.
if people want to connect with you somewhere, Do you want to share where they can connect with you?
I think the only place you can connect with me is just on WhatsApp. I think I have Instagram, but the Instagram is just actually there. But
Okay.
yeah,
So no way. Sorry to people that want to connect with Elizabeth. So sorry.
I can drop my WhatsApp contact, but disclaimer is
Really?
not the best way to reach me still.
All right. No wahala. Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Bye.
There's still over 100 episodes to go. I still need questions. I still need suggestions of who to talk to. I still need people who want to come on to talk about something to fill the form. So please do that. Thank you very much. And yeah, do like, share, subscribe if you found it interesting, insightful, and all the nice things. Bye.